Well, baby, right. Baby, baby, right. That ain't your baby, no. Hey, no, no. That ain't your baby, no.
Hello and welcome to Lady Charts 2 and Frozen 3. I hope everyone experiencing these temperatures is safe and warm today. Thank you so much for joining us. I know there may be a lot going on as folks again experience here in Oklahoma some extreme weather. So I'm Laura Bellis, the Executive Director of the Take Control Initiative, a healthcare access organization and the convening partner of Metriarch, the data and policy collaborative that hosts Lady Charts. So once again, welcome. We're so excited that you're here. All right, so before we dive in, I want to take time to acknowledge the land that I'm speaking to you from. I reside in Tulsa, which is the ancestral land of the Muskogee Creek Nation, and I'm grateful to be able to live and work on this land. We recognize that a land acknowledgement is a small step in showing appreciation, and that more work must be done to address the injustices the people of sovereign nations have faced and continue to face as the result of colonization. We acknowledge and honor the history and active resistance and resilience of Indigenous peoples. We have people joining from across the state and nation. I welcome all of you to visit native-land.ca to acknowledge the land where you are zooming in from. And please share your context and where the land that you're currently on in the chat. So we're gonna have folks, the link is gonna be posted in the chat and it's on the slide. And please, when you post and share in the chat, we ask that people switch from panelists to chatting to panelists and attendees. So we're gonna give folks a moment to check out that site if you don't already know whose Indigenous land you're residing on, and share that in the chat with us. So we'll let some music play for a minute while folks check that out. Thank you for all participating and putting in part of their land acknowledgement within the chat. That website, native-land.ca, is a wonderful resource, and I encourage everyone to use the resources section on that site to learn more, not just about the history of the ancestral land that they are on, but also the current context of that land and the people. So thank you so much for taking that moment with us, and I hope that, again, people engage in ongoing learning beyond it. All right. So, getting into our purpose for the day. Within our context of Oklahoma, it can sometimes feel impossible to have a conversation about women's health without that discussion devolving into deeply stigmatizing and controversial spaces. But there's nothing controversial about being a woman, and it's time we tell that story. The story of women's health is far bigger than the box people try to put it in. Our work serves a non exhaustive group of individuals, including cisgender, transgender, non binary, and gender non conforming individuals, transcending the traditional definition of women's health. Pulling from the work of activists and scholars who have redefined how we see women's health, we know that the access to basic human needs is a women's health issue as much as matters related to our bodily autonomy and anatomy. Complete Women's Health is health beyond the box, the theme for this conference. This has brought together organizations across the nation spanning domains and intersecting topics to share stories and data, both quantitative and qualitative, about everything from surveying contraceptive access during COVID-19, equality indicators, mental health, to lessons learned from programs and people with lived experience. So when we consider all these presenters, oh, can you click to the next slide, please? Thank you. So when we consider all of these presenters and friends of the Metriarch Collaborative, many of whom are members of the collaborative, let me be clear. Metriarch members are Metriarch, and we want to take a moment to invite any of you to share in this work. The goal of the collaborative that's hosting Lady Charts today is to crowdsource data and policy resources, everything from communication support to white-labeled infrastructure building tools. We exist to support organizations actively advancing the status of women in Oklahoma. If that sounds like you, we'd love to connect, and we'll be providing a method of contacting us to following the conference so that you can join as well. All are absolutely welcome. So we would especially like to shout out some of our pillar organizations, which includes the Oklahoma Perinatal Quality Improvement Collaborative, Tulsa's Family Center for Juvenile Justice, Thrive OKC, the Oklahoma Women's Coalition, and the Community Service Council for their work supporting foundational collaborative efforts, such as the organization of this conference and the production of the Data Lookbook in 2020. And thank you to our funding partners, BEST in the George Kaiser Family Foundation, for believing in our work. To all our community collaborators and members of Metriarch, thank you so much for your contributions to our collective work. We look forward to your efforts and showcasing some of what's ahead at tomorrow's Look Ahead time during the second day of our conference. All right. So to get into a few housekeeping items real quick, just want to set the stage for everyone and make sure that you have a good experience accessing different elements of this conference. One quick item, as already mentioned, when you're using the chat, there's a little drop-down menu in blue where you can either select panelists or panelists and attendees. So if you want to reach just the panelists and speakers in the chat, you'll click panelists. And if you want to make sure all conference attendees can see you, which I know we're going to be up in the hundreds numbers today, make sure you click panelists and attendees. All right. So some other quick housekeeping things. Up front, I want to thank everyone in advance for your grace and flexibility. We do not have a production company running this. It's the Take Control team. We're a small nonprofit and we're thankful to help facilitate today. If at any time you are having technical difficulties, Brandy and Mindy will be right here in this main stage link to help navigate. So if when you're trying to access one of the webinar rooms, right, which are different Zoom links, and if you have any challenges, you can just come right back to this link and someone will be here to support you. Also, arriving at this webinar means you figured out how to access our main stage. This is our assembly room, right? That virtual space, and it should be smooth sailing from here. And again, folks will be here for you. There are small group sessions that are being held in traditional Zoom formats. This one's Zoom webinar. So in those other sessions, you'll be able to see and engage with the other folks a bit more than you can in this space. And it should be just like what you may be used to if you spend some of your day or have been in Zoom meetings in the past. You'll just be able to click on the link and go there. You can use your program, the one we sent in your inbox, to access those links. Or if you are unable to locate that in your inbox, at any time you can go to metriarchok.org/program, and you'll be able to access our full event program and click on the links to go to the different spaces as you need to. And you see that link is in the top corner of this slideshow right now. Each meeting room has its own link, and so do any events related to self-care, debriefing, or celebratory time. Also, each room has a room host in it who can provide some support there. They'll be wearing black and hot pink, and they can help you get where you're going, and will also be sometimes helping with chat Q&A. So just to thank you for having your patience going over some of our quick housekeeping items. All right, let's go to the next slide and just get a quick preview of the agenda for the day. Again, this is on that program page in the top corner. Here's what we're going to be up to today. In light of the year we've all had, and in the spirit of healing justice, please note we have ample breaks worked into this conference. There is no expectation that you attend every workshop. Do what works for you. We understand that some topics may trigger some strong emotions. Please feel free to exit from sessions and spaces as you feel you need to. This conference will be recorded and sessions will be available after. Please know we've asked room hosts to avoid recording. Share back time within Q&As so that people can feel able to be more vulnerable. If you're concerned about those sections being recorded, we'll be turning off the record function for those moments. So once again, this is a conference that has flexible space in it for you to do what you need.